Good evening, Jill. Good evening, Jill. Good evening, Little Lane Jury Box. Thank you for joining me once again. I am demetralitALLday, and this is Trial Watch with Demetra, part 6 of Tennessee versus Sean Finnegan. And I'm actually, of course, trying to get this done here in the backstage. But I want to thank you guys for joining me. Please hit the like button. Let me pull this up. I hope you guys have had a fantastic day. Today is Tuesday, December the 2nd. No, I think it's the 3rd. Oops, I forgot to pay my rent. Child. Hmm. I forgot to pay my bill. So I'll be paying that tomorrow. Okay. Let's see here. Law and order crime. Law and crime trials. Yeah, I thought today was the second all goddamn day, and today is the 3rd. So that means now I gotta pay a god doggone late fee, but that's all right. That's all right. That's all right. No biggie. No biggie. No biggie at all. Oh, excuse me, you guys. Anywho, I hope y'all had a good day today. I had a good day today. I spent a lot of time on YouTube on Lit Lane with some reactions that turned out to be a lot of fun. Came on earlier. No. That's the time. Oh yeah, I'm trying to pull this up. I ain't gonna even lie, y'all. I glued my wig down. And I don't glue my wig down really a lot. Like I don't really glue my wig down a whole lot. I ain't gonna even lie. Come out my closet. Ain't nothing in that closet for you. So I don't glue my wig down a whole lot. And so I glued this wig down today. And if I tell you it's bothering the heck out of my forehead, like seriously, it's bothering the heck out of my forehead. And it's got me feeling disturbed. It got me feeling like depression. And I'm just like, dang. That's why. Hold on. I'm trying to pull this court thing up. Trying to pull it up so we can where we left off at last night. I was over there with Jill, so it's Jill's fault that I'm not late. But I'm gonna just go ahead and blame it on Jill for why I don't have my stuff together. Let me come back over here with you guys. No, we ain't seen none of this. Okay, hold on. Okay. Boom, right here. Got it. All right, so I got it up. Let me come back to StreamYard. I couldn't see you guys. I was just talking while I was doing. So, hey, Kurt Vixen. Hey, Winter. P.O.P. Hold me down. Hey, Betty Boop. Good evening. Welcome back to the Little Angel Box. Good evening. Welcome back to the Little Angel Box. Tiki P.O.P. Hold me down. Hey, Daniel. What's up? What's up? Now, let me go ahead and pick Rock up. Put him on the bed. He got to go through this whole routine. Come on. You want to get on the bed, huh? Your legs too short to the box with God. Come on. Oh, sweet you too, Jesus. Where you at? Come on. No. Okay. Oh. All right. Now, I'm going to say this before we start our replay. Hey, Foot Soldier. Yes. Demetra. You're late. Good evening, you guys. I'm getting really frustrated about my green screen. I have got to y'all see this noise on here? So I don't know when that started, and then there's a big shadow across my face. So tomorrow I'm gonna take time out to get with the program and my little the Lit Lane Labs. Hey, living, this worked out, okay? Now tomorrow I probably won't be coming on tomorrow afternoon because I got my appointment tomorrow, my doctor's appointment tomorrow, pit crew. So I'm not gonna come on tomorrow day, and I'll just be on here tomorrow night, okay? Boy, if I tell y'all, let me tell y'all. right here, right up in here, just this spot, this 1 inch, this 1 inch, right here, where I glued my wig down at, it's giving me the BLUES's blues. Do you hear me? The blues. This one spot right here. I can't take it. I can't take it. I can't take it. But I'm gonna leave it alone because I'm gonna be cute tomorrow for my little doctor's appointment. So tonight we're gonna pick up on is actually day 3 in real time of the trial. For us, is parts 7. Uh, and they doing a lot of the law enforcement with evidentiary, evidentiary evidence. They showing a lot of the evidence, the physical evidence. Okay, do it hurt or itch? It don't itch. It feel like it's just like right here. This 1 inch feel tight, like I'm under pressure or some shit. You know what I'm saying? It don't itch and it don't hurt. It just feel like somebody just holding my head like this and just holding it. Like somebody just holding my head like this. I don't know why it's so tight right there. I don't know. But so that's what we're gonna start off tonight. And we gonna it's on good then. Yes, apparently I put it on good today, right? Apparently so. So Tiki made a request, and we're gonna definitely be able to honor that request here on Lit Lane. We're gonna be doing that trial that Renee told me about, the Tashelle Martin case out of Florida with the woman who sicked her pet bull on her 9-year-old stepdaughter and killed her. We're gonna be doing that case. It's supposed to start sometime in January, right? So we're gonna keep an eye open for that trial, and we're gonna follow that one in real time. We're gonna follow the trial, where that Florida trial, where that older white lady killed that black lady, her neighbor with the mama to all them children. We're gonna follow that in 2025, and we're gonna follow those two cases. Those two trials I know already. And then I'm kind of wanting to do an old trial if I can find I YouTubed it the other night, and I did find a playlist, but I gotta go back and see if it's the full trial. But I would love to go back and watch that trial they had like in the early 90s or something with the what was it? The three white guys, teenagers who they accused of being like some Satan worshipers, and they killed them 3 little boys, and then found out it wasn't none of them. I would love to watch that trial. I would love to watch that trial. I was watching something about that again. They got a special true crime documentary on Hulu right now. But I've been hearing about that trial, that case for years. So more into that later. Yeah, she did that in just like a few months ago, Tiki, that black girl. And that black too. And it was her boyfriend daughter. And she gonna put it. Then they got video camera, y'all. They got video cam from in the house and everything. So stay tuned for that. Let me pull this up. Present. Yeah, I was sitting here setting up the live, and I looked in the camera. I say, Lord, put your tooth in. Put your tooth in, Demetra. Ah, let me see. All right. So this is some type of expert, and baby, he looking. Let's see who he is. Get him sworn in. Now, full disclosure for Winter. Winter, this is day 3. As you can tell down there with the time scroll thing, the status bar. The first witness was on Zoom, and they literally had the computer, the laptop with the person on it. They had brought the laptop in front of the defense, both of the attorneys, the prosecution, then over to the defense, and then they was holding them. It was fucked up. You can't hardly hear it, you can't see it, so that's why I skipped that one. And this is the first expert of this day here. Okay, all right, let's go, y'all. Please hit the like. Thank y'all for joining me. Let's get to work. Let's lay jury box without thoughts. I'm gonna close out all these windows I got open. He looked tired today.
We call Doug Williams, John.
Okay, Mr. Williams, come up here. I'm still passing this around, but I'm gonna get to you in a minute. Just come on up here. Sir, if you'll raise your right hand, please. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the
No.
truth you got.
I do.
No, Winter. I thought about that too. I say, okay, Demetra. I thought about that. I say, okay, Demetra, you got to have more patience. You can't, as I wrap my mind around doing this type of content, especially when I start my actual trial work channel, I say I cannot skip over parts because I'm talking about this boring and shit. That's not why I skipped it tonight. Tonight I skipped it because you really can't see it. Let me show y'all. And you really can't hear it. Look, watch. Let me let y'all see it. Y'all can tell me what y'all think.
Don't.
Look, this one of the witnesses. This is the one witness I skipped.
Do you want me to read my results?
Please.
Okay. For that one, the presumptive immunological testing
Thank you,
indicated
Charlie.
the presence of human hemoglobin, a component of human blood. The DNA profile obtained matched Exhibit 4A or Jennifer Paxton.
Wait, I guess you
Probability
can
of
hear.
randomly selecting an unrelated individual
Okay, let's
to
start
be
from
included
there.
as a contributor of
Let's start from there. Okay, Winter, thank you. See, Winter, I need y'all to keep me right. Keep me right. All right, we're gonna start off with this witness here because this is actually something I wanted to hear about the blood evidence, right? Because last night, the last thing we saw, they had the physical evidence. They had 2 dog leashes, a choke chain, a ferocious looking choke collar. What else they had? They had a big metal chain. They had the bucket. They had that tape and plastic. They had a lot of evidence that I was saying her blood got to be all over that stuff. So thank God for Winter coming out of witness protection to keep me right because I just saw them on holding that damn computer and I was like, what the hell is this? So let's go. I didn't know you could hear it that good. Because, I was like, shit, I can't even see.
Or have you tried it already?
Oh, we've tried that. I was going to ask permission since
All right.
I'm questioning her and we have to keep this.
And Charlie,
here.
welcome to the Mid-Lane
If I
Jury
can
Box,
sit
girl.
and do the
Nope, no problem at
exam of her. That might be easier where she can.
all. Okay. All
Right.
right, we're good?
I have a question. How do I cross it?
I'll move for you to sit here across. That's what I was going to say next.
So he can sit in the nice chair then and cross it out?
Only for that.
Okay.
I'm not yielding it.
Okay.
I'll reclaim my time.
All right, you bring them, please.
Yes, sir.
All right.
They finna announce it right now. It's one of the forensic experts, I think, Tiki. They finna say it right now because they just not calling them to the stand. Hey, Sassy. Good evening.
Thank you. Have a seat, please.
Yeah, she said she'd reclaiming her time.
Returned, so good morning.
She did.
Just a couple of things. Let me get y'all to get that straight. So first of all, you remember throughout the trial, I've instructed you not to talk to each other or anybody else about the trial until we get all the evidence in. So
Let me share this live. I
sure you
forgot
made friends
because
now. You
my
can't go out,
notification ain't
sit
going
with your
out.
friend and go, hey, let's talk about the case. And so I need to make sure none of y'all have done that. Everybody agree that you've not had any conversations with anybody else or any other juror about this case. If you agree with that statement, you've not done that, if you'll raise your right hand for me. Perfect. All right. Thank you very much. So this lady here has COVID, tested positive for COVID. So I told her I didn't want her to be here. So we're doing this by Zoom. And everybody's agreed to do it by Zoom. We may have some issue with the sound, but we're going to work on that a little bit. And so the district attorney general is going to sit there at her desk and ask questions, which I said was fine. And then she'll be cross-examined by defense counsel, and he can sit at the desk and do that. Everybody understand the procedure there? Okay. And so, ma'am, can you hear me?
Not be
Okay.
ready to fight the
You raise your
police,
right hand.
girl, and the
You
witnesses.
swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
I do.
And can you tell me your first name and last name and spell them both?
Jennifer Millsaps, JENNIFER, MILLSAPS.
Thank you, ma'am. And questions from the district attorney?
Thank you, Your Honor. Agent Millsaps, can you tell us who you work for and what your title is at that organization?
Yes, I work for the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, and I'm Special Agent Forensic Scientist Supervisor in the Forensic Biology Unit.
What kind of training and education do you have to achieve that position?
I have a Bachelor of Arts degree in biochemistry from Maryville College. I have a Master of Science degree in life sciences from the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. I completed an in-house training program at TBI under the direction of qualified analysts in the fields of serology and DNA analysis. And I've also been a member and been trained to be a member of the Violent Crimes Response Team.
And could you describe what your duties are as that supervisor?
As a supervisor, I assist other analysts and supervise in the unit.
So she with the
analysts
FBI,
that
y'all.
are working on forensic DNA cases, and then other supervisory duties as assigned.
Can you tell us what serology is?
And serology is the
Study of
in
blood.
forensic terms is a study of bodily fluids such as blood, semen, and saliva.
And how is that useful in an investigation?
For an investigation, what we will do is we can take evidence from crime scenes and evaluate it using different techniques to determine if one of those bodily fluids might be present. And if it is, then we can take it forward through the DNA process.
Can you walk us through the DNA process for testing for that?
Sure. So what we would do is to take just a small sampling or cutting of a piece of evidence and add chemicals to it and take it through some processes that will extract or take out the DNA that could be part of that sample and just purify it, make it clean. The next step would be to find out how much DNA I have, and that would be through a process called quantitation. The next step would be to make copies of the portions of the DNA that we're really interested in looking at to help create the DNA profile through a process called amplification. And then finally, we will put that sample onto an instrument that will help us then to visualize the DNA profile that's been created. I do that for evidence samples as well as standards from individuals who might be involved in the case. So we create DNA profiles for all of those. I make comparisons and then write up my findings in a report.
Okay. Do you keep current on the trends and techniques involved in serology and DNA identification?
Yes, we do. We get journal articles to read and then also do continuing education every year.
Do you ever engage in teaching others about these technologies or processes?
Yes, I do.
Could you tell us briefly about that, please?
Okay, for a number of years, I've helped at the National Forensic Academy. I helped with the DNA class that's taught there. And then locally, we also will assist law enforcement and schools and things like that with education.
And how long did you say you've worked with TBI?
I've worked with TBI over 22 years.
About how many cases do you think that you have worked on in terms of serology, DNA analysis, forensic biology?
At least several hundred.
Have you ever been qualified as an expert in court before?
Yes, I have.
In state courts and federal courts?
Yes.
Approximately how many times?
I think it's somewhere between 55 and 60 times right now.
How reliable is DNA testing, and are there any certifications for the lab?
DNA testing is pretty reliable because of all of the safeguards that are put into place for a laboratory, and that is part of our certification process. We are certified by ANAB, which is the ANSI National Accreditation Board, and we're also follow the FBI Quality Assurance Standards guidelines for DNA laboratories. So those are some of the accreditations that we hold.
What
I'm
kills
going
me
to show you a document.
is after they do all
Tell
this,
me if you
then the
recognize
lawyer gonna
that
say, I would
document.
like to get her approved as an expert.
I think that's a copy of my CV.
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Charlie. After they do all this qualification signifying, then they gonna say, I'd like to have her be a expert. Okay.
I just want Judge with the movement in her resume, state retain her as an expert in forensic biology.
Boom! I just told y'all that.
Would defense like the board dire on that issue? Kyle, let her give her opinion.
For us lay people, can you tell us in the simplest terms that we can understand, what is DNA?
DNA is a chemical that's found in our bodies, and it can serve as sort of a set of instructions or a blueprint for how your body is made.
And in what kind of areas of our body would you find DNA?
You can find DNA in practically every part of the body. There's only a few cell types that don't have DNA, but pretty much every other cell in the body does have DNA. And it would be the same throughout the body.
Are some places better to deposit DNA, or some body parts better for depositing DNA, or fluids versus skin? Can you walk us through the difference in testing between fluids or skin cells, for example?
Okay, ladies, self.
Well,
Make me a
fluids
plate.
generally will have more DNA with them. So blood, semen, saliva generally are better sources. I'm not sure if this is where you're going, but with DNA, they generally have more DNA available for testing. Skin cells, we don't know how many are there. We can't see them. So but generally
Ooh, you can hear the
speaking,
COVID in
it's
her
not
voice.
as much DNA as a bodily fluid would be.
So you gave us a brief overview of some of the testing for DNA. Can you literally walk us through, when you get a sample of something, a swab, what is the journey of that swab in your lab?
Okay, so what would happen is evidence, the swab, or whatever it would be accepted by our evidence technicians, and they assign it a unique case number and a unique identifier.
I think that's what they call it, chain of
store it in our
possession.
vault until which time an analyst can come and retrieve it. And so I would go and they would transfer it to me. I would take it back to our laboratory, do whatever analysis I need to do on that swab, and seal it back up.
Chain of custody, I mean.
And it stays in the vault until the agency can come and pick it back up.
All right, so when you take it out for testing, what is it that you are doing to any sample?
It's going to vary from sample to sample, depending on what type of tests need to be done. Let's say if I was looking for blood, I would look for complete blood testing examinations that we had. And I would take a small cutting. So swab sort of looks like a Q-tip. And so I would end up, say, cutting the tip of that Q-tip off with a scalpel blade. And a small piece of that swab would be then tested further for DNA at that point.
And how is that different than, say, an object? Like shoes or a chain, for example?
Again, it's going to depend if an object, let's say, had blood on it. I could either choose to, say, cut out just a small square, say something about the size of a pencil eraser head. I could cut out something about that small, or I could even swab the area as well that I think potentially has blood on it. And then, again, cut that swab tip and then send it through the DNA process at that point.
So explain to us, when you're standing through the DNA process, what kind of data are you provided, and explain it to us in the statistical analysis of that in as rudimentary terms as you can for us.
Welcome back to the Lit Lane Jury Box, Lou. Good
I'm
evening.
sorry, you maybe rephrase the
Listening to
question.
the
Certainly.
FBI
Sorry, that was a terrible
specialist on
question.
blood
Can
and
you
stuff.
just explain how that analysis works, how you use those swabs and get information to make an identification of that DNA?
Okay.
Hope you had a good day.
When we go through the DNA process, I think I mentioned earlier about creating a DNA
Oh, she sound
profile.
horrible.
And a DNA profile is a conglomeration of information taken from a lot of different locations within a person's DNA. And the reason we pick those is because at each one of those locations, what the information you would find there would vary from person to person. And when you take those little bits of information and put them all together, you're saying, what is the chance of someone having this information at one spot times the chance they're having it at the next spot, so on and so forth. When you do that statistical calculation, it becomes a number that's greater than the world population. So basically meaning that the profile is considered unique at that point. So we create those DNA profiles so that we can compare them between pieces of evidence as well as pieces, standards from individuals at that point.
So the likelihood of someone else having this DNA is greater than the world population is a pretty substantial certainty, correct?
It makes it a fairly unique profile at that point.
How does that compare if, say, you have results that say inconclusive?
So what we do at the point of once I create those profiles or I can visualize them, I will evaluate each one and I will make determinations about them, whether or not, let's say, do they have one person? Do they have more than one person? Is it a mixture of people? If it's a mixture, is it something I can work with and say this person contributed or somebody contributed more DNA than someone else? When I can make those types of evaluations, then I will go back and look to see if there's any matches. If at that point I look at that profile and I say, I don't know that I can tell anything about it. Let's say maybe it's has very limited information, or there's just too many people. At that point, I will say that this profile is inconclusive. So in other words, it's not good enough that it can be compared against someone else for comparison. So it never is compared in that instance.
Okay. Can you tell us what YSTR is?
YSTR is, I think I told you earlier that a DNA profile is taken from information from all over a person's DNA. YSTR is information that's only taken from what's called the Y chromosome, and that is something that only males have. And with that profile, it's shared from father to son and then son to sons. So it's shared along what's called the paternal line.
Welcome back to the Lit Lane Jury Box to Beef. I'm back. I had to go get me a soda.
Should have the same YSTR profile.
So if you're doing a YSTR profile, if you had a father and son, would you be able to tell who had been the contributor of that DNA just by the YSTR?
No, I would not be able to tell the difference at that point, barring that one of them didn't have a mutation. They would share the same profile in that particular instance.
So in that particular instance where you only have like YSTR and no identified subject, you don't have any way to compare that to someone to make an identification without possibly identifying everyone in the maternal line?
Or the paternal line, that, yeah, it would say, matches this person and anyone in their paternal line.
Okay.
And the statistics are much different there as well.
You talked about major and minor contributors. Could you just elaborate on that
Hey,
a little
uppity
bit and
girl.
explain that to us?
Sure. When I look at a DNA profile, on occasion, what we'll see is that an individual.
I missed that part, Tiki. I
based
got
on
up to
what
go
I
get me
see
some
from the
soda.
profile, I can tell that there's someone who left a lot more DNA. In other words, the DNA left behind shows a stronger signal than
Yep,
a
uppity.
minor contributor would be someone who's contributed less amount of DNA, and so the signal strength given off from that individual or individuals is much weaker. So if we can make that separation, then we will.
You said earlier that there are some types like fluids, semen, blood, those things. At times, it's a higher quantity of DNA that you can find from that than versus skin cells, which you can't see. You don't know about that. Are there other things that would affect the availability of DNA and your ability to test for it?
Yes, if there's a lot of different factors that can affect DNA that's, say, left behind somewhere. Anything that's, say, left out, for example, in the sun or the heat, it can break down the DNA a lot more quickly. There's cleaning agents that can break down DNA. DNA will break down over time anyway. So factors like that can have an impact on the amount of DNA that's left behind.
All right. You said earlier that part of your duties are working with the VCR.
Quick pause for the cause. Quick pause for the cause. Lit lane fact. 1, identical twins have basically the same DNA. 2, identical twins don't share the same fingerprints. Little known fact in case they ask you for $1 million one day. Let's continue.
The violent crime response team. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you have occasion to work in that capacity on between August 5th, August 6th of 2020?
I did.
Can you walk us through when you first got dispatched or called to respond to a location in Oak Ridge, Tennessee in regard to what's called you into court today?
We were asked to come and look for the presence of blood, and it was in some specific areas, sort of one corner of the living room towards the kitchen, as well as a bedroom that was upstairs.
And could you walk us through what your involvement was there at the scene?
I was considered team leader, and this was what we call a technical assist, and that's where they're not necessarily looking for an entire crime scene evaluation. They're really more looking for a specific expert in serology and DNA to come and evaluate the scene. And so myself and Agent Cochran went up there as serologists to go and evaluate the scene.
So you were present and supervising when photographs, walkthroughs, swabs, Blue Star, all of that was used?
Yes.
And you are, as the supervisor, the person who submits the report on the swabs and the items collected as part of the VCRT response?
Yes, I was team leader at the time, and yes, so it was my responsibility to issue the report.
I'm going to display something for you, and you can tell me if you recognize this.
That's my official crime scene report. It's like dated October 20th, 2020.
Welcome back to the Lit Lane Jury Box. Joy Barnes. We're listening to the
May I approach?
FBI serology expert on blood and bodily fluids. And she just now sound like finna get into the actual parts about the evidence. Kiki say, so I wonder how much DNA they found considering the amount of time the body was held, especially since DNA breaks down over time. I hope the defense caught that. What to say it broke down over time, but it should be DNA everywhere. On the floor, in the bed, on the freezer, on the dog collars, in that bucket, on the bat. I don't know if they found that bat or not at his house. They should have DNA every god doggone well.
So as part of this particular investigation, you supervised and you submitted that report, approved it, of everything that Ms. Cochran and yourself supervised of collecting from that scene. And you told us the process that samples go to when they're brought to the lab. Is that what was followed in this case?
Yes, I mean, technically this is before out to the lab, but yes, it's the
Quick pause. So as y'all can tell, today in real time, this was actually the beginning, the start, the morning of the third day of trial. As y'all can tell, the defendant, Sean Finnegan, he looks markedly more relaxed. He over there opening bottled waters, drinking, he chewing some peanuts and stuff. He a little bit more relaxed now, the third day of the trial. I just kind of want to point that out. Now, he's still not blinking and everything, but he kind of relaxed a little bit. He's starting to get the feel for being in the court scenario and starting to appreciate being out there cell. You know what I'm saying?
that's sort of what we did in this instance.
And how long does it take to do a DNA analysis on any one item, but especially a number of items?
A number of items, it can take quite a bit longer. If I didn't have anything else to work on, depending on the number of items, we could get a report out, in a few days. If it's the number of items, that time frame is going to increase depending on the number of items that we have.
In this case, do you recall when you issued the first forensic biology report?
I'm sorry, was that, are you asking about the first report?
Yes, I'm asking, do you recall the first report that you issued in response to this case?
Yes.
And what was the date on that?
If it's the first DNA report, the first one was December 17th, 2020.
And you did 2 reports on that day, correct?
I did.
All right. The first one let's talk about is swabs that were taken from the body of Jennifer Paxton.
I'm sorry, Tracy. I think I missed you coming
Okay.
in. Hey, Tracy, welcome back to the late
And
jury
that
box.
is a report issued,
I think
as
I
you
missed you.
said,
Must have missed you.
12/17/20.
I think I missed you coming in.
Yes.
My bad. Good evening, girl.
And I'm going to show you this report and see if you can identify it
Oh, my leg would be shaking too. I stay nerved up.
prepared on this case.
Yes, that's my report dated 12/17/20.
And if you could, it looks like exhibits 4C and 5A are external vaginal swabs from Jennifer Paxton and left hand fingernail clippings and clippers from Jennifer Paxton.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
4C,
And 5A.
the external bag, and 5A?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. And you
So
also had
4C
14A. What was that?
14. I'm Sean Finnegan.
So I definitely heard vaginal swabs and fingernail clippings.
And when you get that looks like buccal standard, am I saying that correctly? I hear buccal
Yes.
and buccal. What is that?
That's a
Cheek
standard that's
swabs.
taken from an individual. In the instance of a buccal or buccal standard, it's a swab that's given to the inside of the cheek. And so just in the mouth, and we use that as a sample for comparison. We'll create a DNA profile from that and be able to compare it back to evidence in the case.
Okay, so in this case, were you able to find any DNA on the swabs from Jennifer Paxton?
In the exhibit 4C, which is the external vaginal swabs from Jennifer Paxton, the results for the presumptive immunological testing did not indicate the presence of semen, and those spermatozoa were observed in microscopic exam. And the DNA profile was consistent with Jennifer Paxton, who's assumed contributor to the profile.
And I'm sorry, were you able to find a male profile on any of these swabs?
Not at the point of this first DNA report.
Oh, this report indicated on 4C results the YSTR profile obtained from an unknown male.
So I have, I'm sorry. I have two reports dated December 17th, 2020. So yes, that was from the DNA report. So the YSTR report, which is issued on the same day, the YSTR profile obtained is from an unknown male. Therefore, Exhibit 14A, Sean Finnegan, is excluded as the source of this male DNA profile.
So to be clear, since
Excluded.
I would probably not transition between those 1217 reports. The
Yeah, break
1217
that
report
down.
we're talking about is the official forensic biology YSTR report. And these are
Yes.
swabs from Jennifer Paxton's vaginal area and clippings from her fingernails, correct?
Yes.
And that was compared to the DNA standard that you found and identified as Sean Finnegan.
Yes.
And on the swabs for Ms. Paxton, there was a male, but it was not Sean Finnegan. He was excluded. You had enough to identify there was male, but not him.
Yes.
And because that is a YSTR sample, you can't compare it to another individual because it would be the paternal line. And also you don't have a standard to compare that to. So that remains unidentified, correct?
Correct. I would have to have additional.
Well, what do we have here? That's interesting as the fuck. How they do the vaginal swab and fingernail clippings, and they have a male sample, but it's not the defendant. That's strange. What y'all think?
Additional standards for comparison.
Okay, thank you. I'd move this in as the state's second next numbers exhibit. I believe we had the crime scene report that she signed off on with Tatiana Cochran's that was identified yesterday. So you have that on the bench, and that was marked for ID. We would move that in as the next state's number.
I don't understand that.
And move this in as state's exhibit number 32.
Because we can't forget the body was found in the house.
That was marked for identification
Okay.
with Ms. Cochran yesterday. So she did. But the report is submitted by the supervisor, Agent Millsaps.
I guess we have to wait for the defense attorney to really kind of expound on that to make his case, huh?
So there was no DNA from Mr. Finnegan on the swabs for Ms. Paxton, but there were additional items that were tested from the house, correct?
Yes.
And you issued another report on 1217, and this one is titled the Official Forensic Biology Report from 12/17/20, the same date the YSTR was issued, correct?
Yes.
There are a number of items on this report. Is that accurate to say?
Yes.
I'm going to show you, is this the report that you're referring to now?
It was, yes.
And for purposes, Judge, at the conclusion of this, if we could publish for the jury, the Zoom is not particularly conducive to that at this point. But
So do you want me to pass the one we just did and this one once we get through with this? Is that what you're saying?
It might be easier if they see everything together
Okay.
and pass everything as it is so they can hear
All
what
right.
she's saying. But again, sorry for the clunkiness of this. It's not
Okay.
something we normally do
Go ahead.
with it. So I appreciate everyone's patience on that. I'd like to draw your attention specifically on this report.
Right, but I thought at
to
one point in
item,
time, hold on, Paul. I thought at one point in time, and I may be mistaken, okay, you guys correct me, but I could have almost sworn at some point they made mention that he was like having sex with her anally or from the back or something like that. Uppity, this is a sex torture trial. The defendant is accused of luring a homeless lady, a drug addict, to his house along with his girlfriend, where they sexually tortured, abused, and tortured her sexually and mentally. Then they actually ended up unaliving her. His girlfriend at the time, she's already pled guilty. Now he on trial by himself, and this is a death penalty trial. Just to bring you up to speed. How long did they have Jennifer? They had her body there. They had her body up in that house for over 8 months. And they had her alive for, I think the last time we kind of heard them saying it was like at least 2 to 3 days. But we never did really get no clarity on how long they had the girl there.
009A.
Okay.
What is that?
Yeah, up in this case, been wild.
It's what I described as a choke chain.
And was that area swabbed of the choke chain for any biological substances?
Yeah, I actually swabbed a couple of places. So the first one was the studded areas of the chain, which to me was, if you were looking at the chain, it's meant for a dog. And so the little studs that would poke inwards towards the dog's neck, that's where I swabbed. And then the leash attachment ring is the other place that I swabbed. So the swab from the stud areas that I did,
Joy, that was the first day.
The
first day when they first had knocked over the head with that bat.
Did not indicate the
Oral
presence of blood.
sex. I remember.
And then for the DNA, limited DNA profile, including at least one male, was obtained. Due to the limited profile obtained, this profile is inconclusive for comparison purposes.
Okay. So there's DNA there, male, don't know who that is.
I could tell there was at least one male included, but it was a very limited amount of sample. So I could not make any comparisons against it.
And if we go down just one more to 10A, those leashes, is that the same type of analysis you did on that, swabbing those? And
well, it did. I also need to also swab the ring, also from 9A.
Okay.
Did you want me to give those results?
Please.
Okay. So the ring was kind of like the ring that would be around the collar if it was to attach to a leash. And the presumptive chemical testing did not indicate the presence of blood. And the DNA profile from that was consistent with a mixture of at least 2 individuals. And due to the limited profile obtained and the unknown number of potential contributors to the profile, this profile is inconclusive for comparison purposes.
So 2 people's.
Damn, another negative testing.
No.
And the leashes on 10A, tell us about that, please.
Okay, for the leashes, I tested the handles it was a pink leash and a red leash. I tested the handles and then the opposite ends separately. So for the pink leash handle, the DNA profile obtained is consistent with a mixture of at least 2 individuals, which included at least 1 male. Due to the limited profile obtained and the unknown number of potential contributors, this profile was deemed inconclusive for comparison. From the end, so the pink leash end of that same leash, the DNA profile obtained is consistent with a mixture of at least 2 individuals, including at least 1 male. Due to the limited profile obtained and the unknown number of potential contributors, the profile is deemed inconclusive for comparison purposes.
Okay. Now, you talked about, depositing DNA in some substances are better for others. Would you expect that if someone is carrying a dog leash or walking a dog, that they may deposit DNA on the leashes or the collars?
Yes.
Okay. If I can now draw your attention then to 11A.
Okay.
Could you tell us what that was?
11A was a messenger bag with a length of chain and 2 padlocks. Were all submitted as part of that exhibit.
Could you walk us through your testing of those items, please?
Okay, for the messenger bag and the padlocks, I didn't do any testing on those. I did do testing on the chain. It was about 6 feet long, and so I tested the ends of each end of that chain. So side one, what I called side one, the DNA profile obtained is consistent with a mixture of at least 2 individuals. The major contributor profile is consistent with Exhibit 4A or Jennifer Paxton. Due to the limited minor contributor profile obtained, the minor contributor profile is inconclusive for comparison purposes. And from the major contributor profile, the probability of randomly selecting an unrelated individual who would be included as a contributor of the DNA profile is 1 in a number greater than the current world population for the African American, Caucasian, and Southwestern Hispanic populations. Then from the opposite side of the chain, so what I called side 2, the DNA profile obtained is consistent with a mixture of at least 2 individuals. The major contributor profile is consistent with Exhibit 12A or Rebecca Dishman. Due to the limited minor contributor profile obtained, the minor contributor profile is inconclusive for comparison purposes. And from that major contributor, the probability of randomly selecting an unrelated individual who would be included as a contributor of the DNA profile is 1 in a number greater than the current world population for the African American, Caucasian, and Southwestern Hispanic populations.
So you would call that very certain that you have Jennifer Paxton's DNA on that chain?
Yeah, Jennifer Paxton's DNA is on one side.
And you are certain that Rebecca Dishman's DNA is on the other side?
You know, DNA matched back to both of them, one on each side.
And then there's a minor contributor that you're just unable to identify with the sample size that you have on this chain?
That's correct.
All right, move this report in as the next step.
So far, out of several pieces of evidence, like the leash, the choke collar, what have you, this is the first piece of evidence that's still not matching to the defendant, but this time on this chain is matching the girlfriend Rebecca's. Very interesting.
State's exhibit, I believe that's 32. 33. You had additional reports that you submitted as a result of items that were seized or swabbed at 318 Fairview Oak Ridge, correct?
Yes.
Was your next official forensic biology report dated 4/19/2021?
Yes.
Does this appear to be that report?
Yes, it does.
If I could draw your attention to 001D. Could you tell us what that is and about your analysis, please?
1D is swabs of stains from right side of freezer interior. Do you want me to read my results?
Please.
Okay. For that one, the presumptive immunological testing indicated the presence of human hemoglobin, a component of human blood. The DNA profile obtained matched Exhibit 4A or Jennifer Paxton. The probability of randomly selecting an unrelated individual who would be included as a contributor of the DNA profile is 1 in a number greater than the current world population for all 3 groups that I've mentioned earlier.
All right, if you could take a look at 001E and tell us what that is and about your analysis and results.
Okay, so 1E is the swabs of stain on the inside closet door near the kitchen. And that one, presumptive immunological testing indicated the presence of human hemoglobin, a component of human blood. The DNA profile obtained is consistent with a mixture of at least 2 individuals, including at least 1 male. The major contributor is consistent with Exhibit 14A for Sean Finnegan. Due to the limited minor contributor profile obtained, the minor contributor profile is inconclusive for comparison purposes. From the major contributor, the probability of randomly selecting an unrelated individual who would be included as a
Now that's the
contributor of
kitchen
DNA
closet,
profile
not the bedroom
is 1 in
closet.
a number greater than the current world population for those 3 population groups.
So on the inside of the freezer, you have positively identified DNA from Jennifer Paxton. And
Yes.
from the inside closet door, reddish brown stain, you were able to identify at least 2 individuals' DNA present, but the only one that was able to be identified is Sean Finnegan, and the other a minor contributor that you can't identify with the sample you have.
Yes.
If I could draw your attention to 001G.
Okay. The swabs of the stain on the wall near a fireplace in the living room. And on that one, presumptive immunological testing for the presence of human hemoglobin, a component of human blood, was not performed due to a limited sample. The DNA profile is consistent with Exhibit 4A or Jennifer Paxton. There's additional information obtained at one of the locations that we look at. And due to that limited information, interpretation of that little bit was inconclusive for comparison purposes. The probability of randomly selecting an unrelated individual who would be included as a contributor of the DNA profile is 1 in a number greater than the world population for the African American, Caucasian, and Southwestern Hispanic populations.
So that, in summary, certainly means you have a certainty of Jennifer Paxton's blood or DNA on that wall.
There was DNA found from her on the wall.
DNA from her on the wall. We
Right.
haven't talked a lot about alleles. Could you tell us what that means?
So an allele is what we call the information that we're obtaining from the different locations to help create a person's DNA profile. An allele, the person has a chance of having 2 alleles at each location. Sometimes the information we get is the same. In other words, their mother and their father both gave the same information, so it looks the same to us. And sometimes they gave them different information, and so we can tell that as well, that every person has 2 alleles at each location. And so what this is saying is there was an extra little bit of information, an extra allele that was obtained. I can't even say much about it because it's not enough information. It's inconclusive.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
We also have marked on that report that 003A, there were blacks used in the master bedroom. Were the results of that, those seized on this, included in this particular report?
No, they were not.
Now, I have a question regarding our past 2 reports from the official forensic biology from swabs and the items that were seized. There are places you found DNA on these reports, and there are places where it doesn't look like anything was yielded from those swabs or from testing to see if there's a biological substance on those. Is that unusual?
No, it's going to vary depending on the type of samples that were collected. Some of them in this instance were fairly limited, and we don't do all of the testing that we can do on the scene because we're not capable of doing it except for in the laboratory. So when we're on the scene, we're doing just some very
This is so
quick,
weird.
what we call preliminary or presumptive test. And if it's enough for us to take it back to the lab, we will at that point. but we don't always know how much is included in that sample when we take it.
Your Honor, please, I would move the official forensic biology report from 4/19/21 and this next state's numbered exhibit, number 34.
Okay.
And finally, if I could
Wait a
draw your
minute, not
attention
dry
please, to your
bacon.
official forensic biology report from 7/12/24.
Oh, but are you crazy?
Okay.
Does this appear to be the report you submitted for that?
Yes, it is.
And can you tell us what item you tested in this particular report?
On this item, I tested the black shoes from the master bedroom.
And could you tell us about the process where there's any determination that there could be biological material on these shoes?
You mean like the screening process?
Yes,
Or okay, so usually what would happen is we would examine the item visually first, and if we can see something like a stain that we're interested in, then I would test it with a kind of a preliminary a set of chemical color change tests. If those are positive, then we can move forward with additional testing after that. In this instance, these shoes were sprayed with a substance called Blue Star, which is another preliminary test at the scene. And so we collected them at the scene, and no further testing was done on them until actually worked on them here in July of 24. So I did test the shoes. They were negative, but the shoelace on here was, it indicated the presence of blood, but I couldn't localize a stain. So what I did is I took the shoelace, I took it out of the shoe, and then if you were to say fold the shoelace in half, I tested in halves at a time, and one of the halves showed positive. I just couldn't tell because it's black. I couldn't tell where it was positive at. So I ended up swabbing a portion of that shoelace. I left the end alone because I figured if someone's tying their shoes, that potentially could leave DNA behind. So I stayed away from that area. So it was more towards that middle half is where it was swabbed. So I did not do any testing beyond just that preliminary test in terms of testing for blood. But the DNA profile obtained was consistent of a mixture of at least 3 individuals, including at least 1 male. Due to the complexity of the mixture, this profile is inconclusive for comparison purposes.
Only one thing I can think of good coming out of this is that it's basically where they finding Jennifer blood at the victim,
Your Honor,
like in the living room and stuff. It matches
state's exhibit number
what
35.
the witness said. Like about the fight downstairs when he first hit the victim over the head. Downstairs in the living room by the fireplace, they actually found her blood there. So it corroborates what Rebecca said.
I pass this witness, Judge.
All right, cross-examination. I need to switch chairs.
Now this should be interesting what he makes of this testimony. It should help him almost.
Morning.
Good morning.
Oh, do I have to hold something up here?
Is there a way to turn it up?
I was holding the microphone down toward the
Let's try that. Can you,
speakers, and it helps a little.
can you hear me?
When I remember to do that.
Yeah, I can hear you.
That's a little better. All right. Can you do that?
Gotcha.
Thanks, buddy.
Can you do something?
All right.
Now he needs somebody else to hold it for him. Child,
I'm
such a
just
prima
gonna take a look
donna.
back through these reports, and the one report that starts with 4C, external vaginal swabs of Jennifer Paxton.
Okay.
And just to summarize that you found DNA on the external vaginal swabs of Jennifer Paxton, but it was an unknown male.
That's correct.
Can you hear me?
Hang on, hold tight. Where's the speaker?
Oh, no.
This is a really precise science, the finest technology.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Right about there.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna try that again. Okay. So, but you swabbed that and you tested it, and there was the DNA of an unknown male.
That's correct.
Okay. And when you say unknown male, that doesn't mean it's inconclusive. That means you just don't have a DNA sample to compare it to. Proper. I'm right.
Right. That's right.
And so that is you do have a DNA. You do have enough DNA to compare, and you compared it to Sean Finnegan, and it's not him. He's excluded. Correct.
He is excluded.
Now, you talked about DNA degradation a little bit earlier, and it can degrade over time.
Not in the
right?
future.
Yes.
And there are certain chemicals and washing, and there are different things that can degrade DNA over time. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so when you're testing for DNA, and you talked about having major samples, I'm sorry, major suppliers and minor suppliers, I guess, of that DNA. Is that correct?
Yes.
And usually, would you say that the major supplier is the one who probably, well, let me see how I can phrase this. Maybe touch it more. Is that a good way to say that they would maybe had more contact with that particular object than the minor contributors?
It's possible. It's hard to say, how the DNA was deposited, because you can see major and minors even with bodily fluids, depending on who left more behind. For whatever reason, however it got there, there's just more of it available.
Okay. And would that ever be consistent maybe with who touched it last?
I don't know. Not necessarily. Would have to depend on, if they touched it last, how long did they have contact with it? If we're talking about touch DNA, the factors that are going to increase the amount of DNA left behind would be how long someone had contact with it. What was the surface like? Was it something that would have high friction versus something very, very smooth? And then individuals, some people shed more skin cells than others. So there's a lot of different factors that can go into who leaves the most DNA behind.
Oh, look, we see her
So,
now.
I guess what my question is, when people, if there are, say, efforts made to clean, for instance, and maybe wipe or use bleach would kill DNA, right? Or make it difficult to extract?
It makes it to where we don't get profiles as often, yes.
All right. And so then if you found a profile somewhere where someone had claimed to wash or bleached, would that suggest that profile, the DNA was left after the cleaning?
That one's, I don't know if I can answer that. That's a difficult one to say. I have seen DNA left behind after someone cleaned. I don't know that I've looked at studies that say, how much DNA, how effective was the cleaning versus, and then
He got a clean ass bald head. I know that.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Sure.
So let's move to another report. I'm sorry. There's one that starts with 1001.
One big sponge roller or
and
two.
Testing stains. The top 001A is stain from top of mattress. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I've got your number up here too, if you need it, I guess. April 1921 is when it was issued.
Yes.
Okay.
I've got it.
So that 001D, you swab the stain from the right side of the interior freezer, and that came back as Jennifer Paxton, correct?
Yes, it did.
Okay. And then they asked you about 001E, and those are swabs of stain on the inside closet door near the kitchen, correct?
Yes, this is the defense attorney.
Yes.
That's
Cross-examination.
not the closet door where the freezer was.
No, it's not.
That's the inside closet door of the kitchen, right?
I don't know if you all have a picture, but there was a door as you go into the entrance of the kitchen.
But it's the
Maybe it has
defense
some
attorney
electrical
questioning
or
now.
something inside of it. And we called it a closet door because it was just right near the kitchen. But yeah, it was on it was definitely downstairs versus the upstairs where the freezer was is a different location.
Okay, and that's where I think the HVAC unit intake was, maybe in that closet. Does that sound right?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And on that swab is where you found DNA for Sean Finnegan,
Yes,
and that's his house, correct?
it is.
And you did find swabs of Jennifer Paxton's blood. You found you found DNA of Jennifer Paxton near the fireplace in the living room. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's 1G. Okay. Now, if we could look at another report, this one says it's issued 12/17/20, and it starts with 004A. It's got the buckle standard for Jennifer Paxton.
All right.
Okay. We talked about 009A. That's that choke chain.
Okay.
And on that, there's a limited profile that shows at least one male, right?
Right, from the studded areas of the choke chain itself.
Can you explain how you can determine in mixed DNA how one is male versus, or how you can, because some of them say, it's inconclusive. Some of them say that there's a mix of at least 2 or 3 individuals with at least one being male. Can you kind of explain to the jury how you determine that?
Sure. Within the DNA profile that we create, there are a few locations that we look at that are actually come from that Y chromosome, or that we talk about in the other report. Everything comes from that Y chromosome, but on this report, a few locations we get information from the Y chromosome, which lets us know whether or not a profile or someone who's contributing to that profile could be male. And so in instances where
Absolutely,
we don't
Lady
see
Steph, and point
signals
out that
from
his
them,
client can't be specifically
then it's
pegged to
generally
the
means it's
DNA.
female. But if we do see signal from those locations, then that lets us know that there could be a male or at least one male as part of that profile.
Okay, thank you. That's incredibly helpful. You checked the pink leashes and the dog chains and the things that were downstairs. Those were all downstairs near the dog cage and the dog food, correct? The leashes.
I don't recall where the leashes were found. I don't know if we collected those or someone may have submitted them for us.
Okay. But you tested those, correct?
I did.
Okay, and when you tested them, they came back as a mixture of at least 2 individuals, including one male, right?
Yes, and I don't think I had the chance to read the red leash results, but
Can you
the
read
red
that?
leash handle.
Can you
Sure.
read
Exactly,
that?
Uppity. That's why I say I would
Sure,
guess that
on
it
the
was
red
pro
leash-
bono because of
red
the
leash
status of the
handle.
case.
The DNA profile obtained
Because of
is
the exposure
consistent
of
with
the
a mixture
case.
of at least 2
I
individuals,
agree.
including at least one male. And due to that limited profile, its profile is inconclusive. From the red leash end, the DNA profile obtained is consistent with a mixture of at least 2 individuals, including at least one male. And again, due to that limited profile, it was also inconclusive.
Okay, and so you admit that but I mean, the DNA profiles that showed up on those leashes or whatever would be also consistent with folks walking their dogs. I think the DA asked you that. It'd be consistent with that.
Damn, she got out of her sick bed, got dressed,
Yeah,
rolled her
I
hair, and
think it
everything
could
for
be,
this.
yes.
She's so professional.
And then the other item that you spoke about is the blue messenger bag with the chain and the padlock. And that's
Yes.
11A. So when you tested those on side, and I think you said you stretched it out and you kind of did one side and then a second side. Is that correct?
Yes, on the chain. I tested one end and then went and tested the other end.
Okay, I see. And so that came back with one of the contributors being Jennifer Paxton. So you found Jennifer Paxton's DNA on that chain. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And can you read side one of chain? Can you read that, what it says?
Sure. The DNA profile obtained is consistent with a mixture of at least 2 individuals. The major contributor profile is consistent with Exhibit 4A or Jennifer Paxton. Due to the limited minor contributor profile obtained, the minor contributor profile is inconclusive for comparison purposes. And the statistics for that, the probability of randomly selecting an unrelated individual from the major contributor who would be included as a contributor of that profile is 1 in a number greater than the current world population for those 3 population groups.
Okay. And it was consistent. There were a mixture of at least 2 individuals, and we know for sure that Jennifer Paxton was there because you had something that you could compare it to, and it matched. Is that correct?
I had enough information from them to determine that there was a major contributor that I could work with, and then once I looked to compare it back, it matched to Jennifer Paxton.
Okay. And it's a mixture of at least 2 individuals, but I don't see where one of them is male, right?
Right.
So there's no sign of a male touching that chain?
The only thing I was able to say was that it was a mixture of at least 2 individuals. So, yeah.
Okay. And then if we look at side 2 of the chain, can you read that, please?
Sure. From side 2, the DNA profile obtained is consistent with a mixture of at least 2 individuals. The major contributor profile is consistent with Exhibit 12A, Rebecca Dishman. Due to the limited minor contributor profile obtained, the minor contributor profile is inconclusive for comparison purposes. In the statistics from the major contributor, the probability of randomly selecting an unrelated individual who would be included as a contributor of the DNA profile is 1 in a number greater than the current world population for the African American, Caucasian, and Southwestern Hispanic populations.
Okay, and then that's the same as the side 1 as far as it's a mixture of at least 2 individuals, but it doesn't say about having a male contributor.
That's correct.
Okay, which means there's no evidence that a male touched that chain.
I didn't see any information to indicate a male present.
Okay, and you did not test the padlocks or the messenger bag itself, is that correct?
I did not.
That's all I have, Judge.
I'm back. This attorney has the cleanest looking bald head for a white guy I've ever seen. His head look like a black guy bald head. I'm just saying. He did do his big one. I didn't understand most of it. But he did his big one. If I was that lady and I had COVID, I'll be up in there like this in my bed.
And so you want to pass this to the courts?
One moment.
Please, John.
Oh,
So
I
we
can't
got 3,
find
is
it.
that
Oh, Lord.
Was it 4?
I be doing the most. They be like, ma'am,
There should be, I believe, 4 reports on that.
So-
never mind,
There's
ma'am,
the
never
BCRT
mind.
report that we've now entered into evidence instead of identification. 2 reports.
You know,
from
we be doing the
12/17/20,
most.
A report from 4/17/21.
No,
And
he probably in the
17.
cuckold.
And may Agent Millsaps be excused.
So we have all those
Yes.
You know what I was thinking about, y'all?
31 and 35 sounds right.
I was thinking that
Okay, so we'll just pass those around. Y'all take your time and look at those.
while the jury look at that, it's no telling what type of stuff they got into. They could have very well had a man sexual partner come up in there at some point, but they don't want to give him up.
From Agent Cochran and Supervisor having testified of
Tracy say
supervising this
she
walkthrough
feel like the
analysis
defense attorney
of
established a
the
little bit of
evidence
reasonable
up
doubt
through, 18 Fairview.
to actually unaliven her.
Photos from the BCRT as state's next number.
They ain't calling pictures.
36,
Okay.
I believe. And
Those are the ones I looked at yesterday.
yes, it's a collective exhibit.
Okay.
Damn, that's a lot of pictures that we didn't get to see none of. I wonder if that's one of the victims' daughters
That'd be 36.
that's sitting over there with the bang kind of going across the side with that blue shirt on. She almost looked like the victim. This is the victim here. That girl that's in there front with that, this her first time I saw her there. She looked like her. She's sitting behind the prosecutor's thing. I'll point it out when they show her again. You know, the victim had adult children.
Okay. So let them finish looking at it.
Okay.
But I'm assuming, of course.
But don't let me forget.
I didn't want her to log off
Okay.
before I got to ask this question.
Okay. So, man, if you'll stay there, we've got another question we'll ask you once everybody gets to looking at your document.
This must be redirect question.
Did she hear me say that? You may need to tell her that, General. Tell her. We need her to stay on.
I think she's staying on.
Okay.
So they may have one more question if you didn't hear that cross conversation.
Sure.
Thank you for your patience.
I think it'd be almost impossible for him to get off, seeing how they had his body in there. But at the same time, I think it's hard to just say he the one that killed him. 36. The victim was 36, Betty Boop. I'm glad we went back. I'm glad I thought to go back and play this. Get it, Winter? I thought about it. Yeah, I saw that woman wasn't on the stand and said, well, skip her whole testimony. I cannot be doing that. I can't be doing that on my actual channel. It was important testimony. See, that's why Winter can't be up in there hiding in witness protection.
When you go back to the jury room, you'll be able to take up most of these exhibits with you, except the physical ones that we took out of bags and stuff yesterday. But documents like this, you'll be able to take with you back in the jury room, and photographs.
We need a copy of everything. And we gotta wait till the jury look at every piece. You know, it's always that jury that's doing too much, acting like they looking at everything super duper hard. Now, you know what they got while they doing this? I found this smaller court, right, in Georgia. I might do the next trial we're gonna do is up in that court. But anywho, what's so interesting, it's in Atlanta, Georgia, the courthouse. And in his court, the jury is allowed to ask questions too. So it'd be like the prosecutor asks their questions, and then the defense attorney get the cross-examination, and then before the witness get off the stand, the judge asks the jury, are there any questions from the jury? And so the jury, if one of the jurors got a question, they write it down on a piece of paper, and then the question get handed to the judge, and then the judge make the decision on if it's a allowable or allowable question or not. And if it is, they ask the witness a question. I found that to be so interesting. So I'm definitely gonna show like a short trial, maybe like a robbery or something. I'm gonna show y'all that. It's very interesting. I had never seen it before. I was like, wow, that's some different shit. And when I saw it, the jury had a bunch of questions. I'm gonna look and see if I can find like a Christmas-based trial. Places say not getting off completely just to the actual act. He could have helped clean up and hid the body. And he could have had a part with the torturing part. You got to remember, he's not just on trial for the unaliving. He also got several counts of mistreatment of a corpse, torture, kidnapping, all those charges too. Good point, because I forgot about that. So he could very well be found not guilty of the actual capital offense of murder, but guilty of everything else. Child, I would be having questions because I'd be wondering about some stuff. Like, wait a minute. But a lot of my questions, they would talk about, ma'am, those are inadmissible. That's the word I was kind of trying to think of. Inadmissible. Admissibility. Is that a word? Admissibility. Child, let me fast forward through all these pictures looking at. No. All them people got to look at all them pictures. 12 people. Hold on. As long as I see that little lady with her little bang. Oh. Girl, we finna sit there through all that? I don't think so. That woman ready to go lay back down and drink some orange juice. Damn.
What was supposed to be a recross
Sure.
on this, that he was going to introduce a new report, or we would have.
Now they
objected
didn't sit the
to it
jury
on
out,
front end
and they doing this without
having
the
to do a
jury.
hearing of it. Once we object to it, once they're trying to do it, it makes it look like we are trying to keep something out hidden with ulterior motives versus we were trying to follow proper procedure by not introducing evidence that we could not.
So what do you suggest I do?
I'm suggesting, number one, that the defense be instructed to not make any inferences or arguments that the state was not proffering that exhibit in an attempt to hide.
Look at Judge Ann's face.
To the jury.
Yeah, I heard of Darryl
It's
Brooks.
We didn't have.
That's
a
the one that
problem
drove
with
into the
putting
parade
that in per se, because we would have put in that it wasn't
and
found,
tried
but
to
we
represent
couldn't
himself.
Have that link in the
But if
chain
he
of
doesn't get found
custody
guilty of the
to
main
get us
charge,
Huh?
would he
so just
possibly
like
do
there be
less
no
time than
improper argument
Rebecca?
or inference
Maybe
made,
so.
And
Admissibility,
I don't know
okay?
what kind of curative instruction you do to say the state did not omit this
Now that'd be a trip,
maliciously.
but that would be absolutely possible, Tiki.
This is their evidence. I don't know.
Maybe these lawyers
I
stay
don't object
fighting.
to any- By a TBI agent, how she got it or where she got it from, I didn't even ask. It was knives. They brought it into issue when they started talking about Chev's knives. They did. During their opening, they said he had Chev's knives. He was a cook. He had his own knives. They put it into issue.
And they asked that
and
woman
they
about it.
tested them, and they're negative. The fact that they didn't put it into the evidence, I think I can argue that they didn't put it into evidence if I want to. That's called being a defense attorney, Judge. And there's nothing unfair. I'm not claiming that they did it, but I can argue it. They don't get to control my argument because they neglected to put in a piece of evidence, Judge.
Judge, this
Yeah,
isn't
but-
a neglect
Oh, okay. The
issue.
possible daughter.
Let's
Let me see.
let's say they did put that in.
No, I'm gonna show you.
Let's say it was bad.
Right.
And they put in, and there's no basis to put it in. They didn't have a basis to put it in because they don't have a witness to verify the taking of the knives. Is that right?
Only if I objected to it. Only if I objected to it. She can absolutely testify about the test that she ran on the evidence that was provided her by the investigating unit.
You can't see her right here.
They investigated, they confiscated. She's not part of any of that.
Here's why, but
They
that
provided
purple
her the
tie.
stuff. She tested it. She can testify to her report, what she tested and what the results were. That's all I did. I put it in.
And we're, again, Judge, we're not objecting to
Second,
that, but we
second.
think there's a difference between
Give me a second.
chain of custody when someone's dead.
And she
Put
just
my
keep
hands up,
talking.
Quit talking.
Sorry,
That's
I
what
was
I mean, okay? So I think your concern is that. in
He said, "Look here, when I'm
closing
talking, you
argument,
stop talking."
They may argue that you tried to hide this or hide the ball, basically. That's kind of what. Okay, so if they bring it up, make an objection. I'm not telling you I'll rule, but go ahead and make an objection.
We will, Judge. Again, we're not objecting. The exhibit is the exhibit.
I like all their
Yes.
arguments, Tracy.
You know, I'm gonna pass around the jury just like I did do those, but
They
if
do
get
a
up and
lot of
argue, it
lawyering
shows that the state
on
was
this trial.
being, deceptive
Excellent.
or not being truthful or whatever like that. You stand up and object, and I'll rule on it.
Can we also clean it up with John Hannon and have him explain where that knife set came from, that it came after the fact when the apartment was cleaned several weeks later? That's how we received that knife set in a cupboard inside the apartment.
Y'all's case,
Judge,
your case.
so I need to clarify that. I don't have an objection with them telling that they have testimony to clean up, that they found it after the fact and all that, but they cannot go into the other stuff they found when they found that, because it was a separate search.
We do not intend to
Okay,
go
just making
into those items.
Just making sure.
That's what.
Oh, I
we're
talk
not
too much
going into
too.
a Separate case
Right.
on
Okay,
this.
making sure.
Right, okay.
But that's why we wanted to avoid, because
See,
that
y'all
witness is
decide,
there.
you decide. If you want to put this jumping on,
Thank you,
ask that
uppity
question,
girl.
you can.
I
If you
tried.
That if they go into that area and they're closing, you stand up and object, I'll rule on it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Fair enough? Okay, see y'all in about 12 minutes.
Ciao. Baby, one thing's for certain with this trial, I absolutely love the passion that both sides of this case bring in. From day one opening statements, even before opening statements, they have been doing some lawyering. Do you hear me? All right, we back, y'all. I don't even think they asked that lady no more questions, y'all. They didn't even ask her no more questions. So next witness up here. Judge Ash. He looked like a Judge Ash. I see you peeping, Winter. Now he an idiot. Judge Ash was giving him a steak face, looking at them like, what is you talking about? So far,
Take have a seat.
well, that's a good question for my
When you go back, you'll be able to take it with you.
poll.
But I want
Let
you to
me
look at
see.
that before we start it up, so it's like-
Lord, I be trying not to open no other windows up because it mess up everything. Yeah, see, it started freezing up on my side. So, y'all, Tiki got a Lit Lane jury box question. So far, this is to everybody. Who do you believe has presented the best case? The prosecution or the defense? But the defense haven't presented their case yet, Tiki. He looked like a Judge Ash. It matched. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to put my answer like this. I could have hit mute. Not up and call the defense attorney a stunt queen. Jill, it looked like the judge say, look, I can really take me a break right about now. I bet they be looking. You know what, Judge Boyd had a case here in the last couple of months where they was up in there on a Saturday. I was
Okay,
like,
Mr. Webb, come up here. I'm
what?
still passing this around. I'm gonna get to you in a minute.
They was up in that
Just come on up
courthouse
here.
on a Saturday. I couldn't believe it.
Stretch your right hand, please. You swear to tell the truth. The whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Have a seat, please. If you'll state both your
Y'all
first
is
name and last
feisty
name, just tell them
tonight.
both for me.
Yes,
Y'all
sir.
feisty.
My name is Douglas Williams. Douglas.
Okay, let me see. He looks serious.
WILLIAMS.
And we're gonna wait just a minute till.
Look at all his badges.
And I'll let you ask some questions. Sure.
The defense putting up a good fight. I think we thought thinking that. The fish just scored a bit with that last question. Yeah, with that blood testing. Damn, he looking at stuff way closer than that other man did, huh? So here we are with the ASMR. And Renee, if you up top, hey girl, don't let them work you too hard if you up top. Oh, you saw that lady Steph? I didn't really follow that Trial and Judge Boys. It was just like I just saw it on a Saturday. Oh, now I thought I was losing my mind. He has the same bang. They all got the same bang. Hey, and Renee, girl. Uppity. Was you up here last night, Uppity? I said that last night. I say this would be an excellent ASMR. But last night they was making a lot of noise with the packages and stuff. Girl, get out my head. Get out my head. I said the same thing last night. He does, Betty Boop. That style must be for experts. Yeah, she get a lot of those cases down there in San Antonio, lady Steph. A lot of them. Hey, Tweety. Hey. This man here got all them nice gold pens. Not the expert bang. It's the bang. The bang. Oh. I love to hear Tim Blaze sing that. Y'all gonna stop making me laugh tonight. Uppity say I had reduced myself to watching the ghetto court TV, but this is good and educational.
Go ahead and state your full name for the record.
Douglas Williams,
And where are you employed?
Okay.
State of Tennessee, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation.
How long have you been employed with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation?
Just about 20 years.
Okay. And did your law enforcement career start before your?
Yes, sir. Collegedale Police Department in 1986.
Okay, so.
All right, he
started in
worked his way up.
1986, Collegedale Police Department, transitioned to TBI in what year?
I came to TBI in 2002 with the election of the new governor at the time. There's a cutback. I was sent to the health department to work for about 18 months, and I was rehired by the TBI in 2004.
Okay, and what is your current assignment at the TBI now?
My current assignment is job title is application administrator, which is taking care of our forensic applications. Also, my primary responsibility is that of a digital forensics examiner. I'm also a retired special agent.
Okay, and so you, a digital forensic examiner is one of your titles?
Yes, sir.
You wear multiple hats?
Quite a bit.
Okay. The bulk of your career, though, with the TBI, what did you do what was your primary role with TBI?
The bulk of it was as a special agent working for the technical services unit doing digital forensics.
Okay.
TBI.
Hey, Miss Steph
state has a
219.
requirement
So he
that when you
retired
turn
now, I
60 that
think.
you have to retire. Any commissioned agent has to retire at 60. I was retired at 60. I did 2 years on contract. Then they recreated a job to get me back as a non-commissioned agent, non-commissioned person. And
All
that's what I
right.
do now.
Okay.
All right.
What
They made a
unit is
position
were
for you.
assigned to?
At the time that I did this examination, it was called Technical Services Unit. It's been since renamed Cybercrime and Digital Evidence Unit.
Okay. Cybercrime and Digital Evidence Unit, what is that composed of?
We have a component that does the field investigations and all types of crimes involving computers, internet crimes against children, the human trafficking and such, and then the digital forensic side of it where I am, we're the ones who analyze the evidence that's collected by either our personnel or because there's a lot of agencies that don't have access to digital forensics personnel, we take on state and federal jobs as well.
Okay, and what do we mean by digital media?
Basically anything computerized, anything that deals with ones and zeros.
Okay.
We deal with computers, cell phones, tablets, audio enhancement, video enhancement.
He a
And
big
the most
wig.
recent advent is dealing with the infotainment systems and the navigation systems in cars.
So you're kind of like the geek squad of the TBI.
I've been called that before,
Okay.
sir.
All right, and so tell the members of the jury, what is digital forensics?
This is the examination of evidence that is stored either on a hard drive or on some type of media that can be examined through a computer or primarily through computer examinations.
Okay, and what kind of specialized training have you gone through to become a digital forensic examiner?
The whole
begin
Dick
with-
Lane
with the
jury
technical
box is on the
services
road
unit,
tonight, okay?
All agents have to have a bachelor's degree. To be part of our unit, you had to have a minimum of 15 hours of computer training in college. I have an associate's degree along with my other degrees. Then after that, our primary training is through seized computer evidence recovery out of the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center. And then we go on from there to specialize. All of our people are trained in computers and cell phones. Some of us specialized after that. Myself, I went through audio and video enhancement, and I was the first one trained in the TBI for doing examinations of cars.
Okay, and so throughout your career, have you kept abreast on the changes in digital forensics?
As new things come out, we get a chance to go to other training, and we go through conferences that have updates on what's going on with the state of the art, as well as we change software, we will go through a training class on that specific software.
Okay, and of course you keep that in a curriculum vitae, the training that you undergo over time?
In mine, I keep it sort of simple. I do keep a
Let me
spreadsheet
guess.
of which classes
They're gonna
I've
make
gone
him,
to at
they're
which
gonna
time
render him an expert.
to keep track of that. I just try to keep mine that you've given me a copy of here a little bit more to the point and not load down with paper.
Okay, and you have in front of you exhibit number 38. You recognize that?
Yes, sir. It's my CV.
Okay, and that details the training that you're talking about, or summary at least of the summary of the training in digital forensics.
Yes, sir.
And obviously that documents your time and experience in the field. Does it also tell us how many cases you've worked or analyzed over your career?
I do not have a listing of cases in there. I went back and did a little check, and right now I'm right at 1,000 cases that I've worked over the years. Now that includes computer cases.
Hell yeah,
Mobile
ain't
device
nobody have no
cases
secret from him in the
and
house.
vehicle examinations.
Okay, and part of your responsibilities also to testify in court about the results from your examinations?
Yes, sir.
And have you in fact testified in court in the past?
Yes, sir. Several times.
Have you testified in federal court and state court?
Yes, sir.
Have you been accepted as an expert in digital forensics in federal court and multiple jurisdictions?
He don't look sloppy to me. I think, Tweety, what make him look, I can't tell you what make him look sloppy. The only thing I can think that make him look sloppy is the fact that he got a double chin. And I think that's it. His suit is really nicely pressed. His shirt is nicely pressed. He the only one so far I've seen with his little professional little pins on him. You know what I'm saying? His hair comb, his beard and stuff. I think right now the only thing that's giving him maybe a sloppy appearance to Demetra is the fact that he got 2 or 3 chins. Look at him again. Everybody with that bang, Tiki says an expert. Well, he definitely an expert, right? Like he didn't brush his hair or something. Tracy say, I think they were talking about Tracy a bit disheveled. Look, after he do y'all friend report, he do mine, right? Ask him for me, Tracy Whitehead. Okay. Tweety, now that you look He don't look sloppy. He just, I think it's just them lazy double, triple chins. Okay. And now that we have pointed out the fact that having double and triple chins make you look sloppy, I got to do something about this double chin of mine. Okay. I've been trying to contour it away. Oh,
Yes, sir.
At this point, we tender him and move in Exhibit 38.
Joy, look, uppity say the ass mirror, the ass and more so me. Yeah, about it. Joy say that's his sexy look. What is wrong with y'all tonight?
What number? 38. Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna need the jury box to pull it together tonight, please.
Agent Williams, you have before you 2 exhibits, and I don't have the exhibit numbers marked down. Can you tell me what the blue numbers on there?
Now, Tiki,
I have number 18
Tiki.
and number 19.
Okay. Do you recognize exhibit number 18 and
Thank
exhibit
you for the
19?
compliment, but
Yes,
girl,
sir.
I have
Yes, sir. Those
a
are
major
two,
double chin.
Cell
Hold on.
phones.
I didn't got distracted. Girl, one day when I be doing my lives, y'all, I be like, God damn. Sometimes I had on something one of them cool days. I had on like a shirt that wasn't like this. It was kind of up. And baby, I think I had that sweatshirt on. All you can see, and I was just looking in the camera because I was on camera, and all I could focus on was the fact that my double chin, see there it go, see how it came out real fast like a turtle coming out of its shell. My goddamn double chin was sitting on that warm-up shirt right there. I was looking like, and ever since that day, I've been trying to contour all down here and shit. Anywho, I look like that man off of Austin Powers, the little bald head man. Look. Oh, no, that is my double chin. Look at that. I got 2, 3, 4 chins. My double chin so big that when they come all the way up, my first chin stopped being a goddamn chin. Look what. I tell y'all, when Jill be going to do her walking, right? When Jill do her walking videos, I'll be like, damn, I wish I could just send my chin outside to do laps. If I could just do one thing, it wouldn't be nothing else but my chin. I'm okay with my big, round, beautiful self. I'm okay with my big ass and all that type of shit. My chin. If I could just send my chin out to go run laps or something, or give me one of them bands that used to be on TV where they be saying, I'm gonna look on Amazon and see if that's a real thing or not. Remember how they used to have on them old TV shows? I am very distracted. But remember how they used to have on like them old TV shows? You'll see people with like, hold on, let me show you. Where that thing at? Where my little band at? So I can show y'all what I'm talking about. That way, one of y'all might know what I'm talking about. It might can give me a referral of where to find it at. Watch out, Rock. Mommy trying to get some help with her chin. Dang, I can't find it. Never mind. I can't find it. I got this band I was finna show y'all. But so y'all know what I'm talking about when they have them bands and you go like this, and they go like this, and they be on a machine, and it make friction like this so it can make your chin work out. Yeah. If y'all see one of them, get the link for me, okay? Exactly. I told y'all that I need some chin straps. I'm going to Amazon, Google some chin straps off of the Golden Girls. That's what I need. If you got to do all that, girl, I'm not going to sit here and keep pointing out. Okay, hold on. Can everybody pull themselves together? Now, tomorrow night when we come back together, I'm gonna need y'all to be wooside, okay? I think this happens while we on expert testimony. The expert testimony be hard to get through. But all right. Tweety came, dropped down, and got everybody distracted talking about this man looking disheveled because of the fact that I pointed out that he got double chins. Okay. Everybody okay? Pro hack. To get rid of your chin in pictures, put your tongue to the roof of your mouth and smile. I'm gonna practice that. Mommy Dearest had her chin strap. That mean you super duper fine. Yeah, I need me some chin straps. I need a double sip. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna take pictures and try it. Let's continue, y'all.
That I examined. I see my evidence labels on the.
Yeah,
the
everybody
envelopes.
get their
Okay, so
ADHD
when did
back
you actually
together.
examine those phones?
It'd be 2020.
Okay. And tell the members of the jury what the process is for
Wait,
examining.
up and
cell
say he
phones
had
for
me
digital
at the
data.
ASMR.
When a
Okay.
cell phone comes into our possession from whatever method, whether it's a search warrant or consent search or however, it comes to our unit, and the first thing we go to do is try and remove it from the network, because a phone on the network can receive a remote wipe command. So with most phones, what we'll do, there's a little card inside the phone called a SIM card, subscriber identity module. That's what the phone uses to identify on the network to know whether it's allowed to be there or not. Removing that SIM card prevents the phone from authenticating on the network and prevents it from receiving the
Okay, it's a shirt
remote
too.
wipe. Should that
Thank
be
you,
there.
Betty Boop girl.
The next step is we connect it to
Yeah, we back
our
now,
software,
Joy.
our equipment. In this case, these were examined with Cellbrite, and Cellbrite will now connect to the phone and send requests for information from the phone and bring it back into the computer so we can parse it out and analyze it.
Okay. Agent Williams, you have two exhibits before you, but the jury has seen some photographs of the scene, and there are three phones in the photographs. Did you receive, in fact, three phones in this case, or just two?
Yes, so we received
I think
three
he the
phones.
phone
There was a
expert.
TCL phone that would been my evidence number would be 564 instead of these are 5 and 6. The phone would not charge, would not power on. We could not examine it.
Non-operational.
Who
Correct.
phone was
Okay,
that?
so
I missed.
the exhibits, though, in front of us, you were able to do a forensic examination on those?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What is Celebrite?
Cellbrite is a brand name. It's a company that does forensics on primarily cell phones or mobile devices. Mobile devices being, in this case, tablets, your Kindles, your iPads, things like that. So the Cellbrite is broken down into two basic pieces. A device called the UFED, which is Universal Forensic Extraction Device. And that device connects to the phone to request the data from it.
Oh my God, the
next
phone
step is
experts
taking
are
that
the
data
worst
that's been
experts to me.
Extracted.
With all his
and
credentials,
going
I thought
through
he was gonna
the
be an
software
expert
called
on
Physical
something else.
Analyzer. And that software parses out the information.
But we only got
so
5
that
more
it's
minutes
more
left. We let him get
human
his
It
ego
takes
on.
and separates the pictures out. It separates out any emails, any text messages, any multimedia messages, any chat messages, anything.
He is the
there
absolute
so that
head of
the
the Geek Squad.
person can read it
Absolutely.
versus the computer having to read it.
Okay, and what kind of format does it give you when you run the whatever Celebrite exam you do on the
It
actual
give
phone?
pings.
We have multiple options. I can do it as a HTML, just what you normally open with a web browser. You can do it to a PDF that is all text. In this case, we generated what's called a
He
Cellbrite
definitely ain't
reader
gonna
or
have
a
none of them
UFED reader
pictures.
report. And that basically takes the data from the phone and turns it into
Yeah, he's like an old retired
a
nerd.
searchable format So the people that are doing the actual
Wait a
investigation who have
minute.
more knowledge of the case than what
Why
I
Joy
do,
Bourne say
as a
we
forensic
overlooking the
examiner,
fact that the mama
can go
might be a
through and look
suspect?
through the data, mark what they think is more important, is relevant to the case, without taking a chance of damaging the original evidence. That way, we send that
And I
out.
think the more important phone evidence will be off Mahogany phone, because you got to remember that Rebecca Dishman was using Mahogany phone, right?
To the investigating personnel. If they have further questions, they can contact us for more of a deeper dive into the data. But that lets them actually read the information, generate their own reports, and keep track of what is important to the case.
Okay, so the obvious question, you were trained on the Celebrate examination process.
Yes, sir. That class was in 2012.
Okay, and did that also require testing the output to ensure the results that this software product or product combination software?
The class itself was
But this
vendor
probably
specific,
killed
so
Mama
we didn't get into a
Bates.
whole lot of checking it against other other software. We did go through more of a manual. Okay, this tells me I got this this message, and we go back into the phone and say, yes, this message is here. But because it was a vendor specific one, there wasn't a whole lot of quote validation with other tools. But before we put it into service, we will go ahead and bring up the evidence in another software vendor and cross-check them to make sure that there is some overlap. There is
Child.
the information is found both places. Sometimes one vendor will parse things differently than the other, and then you decide which one has the better information for you.
Okay, and in your
Hey,
opinion,
Lady
is
T.
the software
You know,
output,
it's a
generally
pass on the
accurate?
tardies and
Yes, sir.
late scare this
and
week.
is it generally accepted
How
in
do
the
you
field?
do all
It is-
that
it
in
is one of
somebody
the
else's
primary,
home, living and breathing upstairs?
Vendors used in
Not
forensics.
upstairs. They
If
was
you
on
had
the
to pick
same floor
one,
together. Found
you
out
only
the
had
mama
one shot,
room and that
would you
bedroom
pick,
was right across
Celebrate?
from each
Is
other.
it that accepted?
Same
It's
floor.
that accepted, and it's more user-friendly than some of the other ones that I've used.
Okay. And the results are generally relied upon in the forensic.
I can feel my
Yes, sir.
eyelashes growing.
Is that both in public?
Did
in
y'all
government
notice my
type work and in
eyelashes? They
private
the same
forensics?
thick,
It is
big,
used
big,
by
big ones I had
private
on
forensics
today.
in,
But what I
in
did was I actually cut them. I trimmed
e-discovery
them.
such, as well as being used by private examiners that
Sure did.
come
And there's
up
some of my
as
Temu
experts
lashes.
to
I need to
question
order
what
some
we
more.
do.
Okay. And how is the copy that you make? That
I
you
ain't ordered from
provide,
Temu in a long
I
time.
assume in this case, you provide to somebody like a field agent, like
I provided these.
Agent Hannon.
I provided these to Agent Hannon.
Baby, this
through our
little man need to
network.
go back to
Once I
retirement.
copied them out. I put them on a network shared drive that he could access, and then that way he could look at them through the network.
Okay. And so in fact, Exhibit 18 and 19, you did run your analysis on Exhibit 18 and Exhibit 19.
Yes, sir.
And you
I'm
did
trying to see
provide
what
that
significance he
information
gonna
over
give
your
us.
network to Field Agent or Special Agent Hannon in this case.
I did.
I did.
We explained to us when analyzed phones are examined, what it is with regard to deleted spaces, and I'm narrowing.
No, I didn't say that. That was Betty
Explain to
Boop
the
saying I
jury
can feel
when
my eyelashes
or how
growing.
deleted information on cell phones can be preserved and or found by your tools.
Thank you,
that you're-
Tiki.
or that you're using.
There are three basic examinations or images, I would say, that we can get from a phone. A logical image is only what the user would be able to see. There would be no deleted information in that whatsoever. A physical, a file system image is everything that's contained inside the.
I think the vote would be to skip past him. And can I take a vote? Drop a 1 if y'all want to skip past the phone person. At least let's first give him a chance. Let's skip to when the defense attorney didn't even ask him no questions, child. Look. A minute.
One specific part of the memory.
Okay, this defense.
And with regard to the Celebrate reader, that depends on the field agent for them to run reports and look for information. You explain that to the jury.
It goes back to the person investigating the case for them to look for what's information, evidence free. I wouldn't know if a specific text message may have meant something.
Yes. Okay. Tiki, understand. Little Lane Jury Box. We have got to get it together when we go into the true crime sectors. Okay. When we go on the actual the Trial Watch with Demetra channel, we're going to be welcoming people we don't know from other communities, the trial watching community. We have got to pull it together, okay? We are not going to be allowed to skip nothing. I'm going to have to learn how to kind of put my talking at it. We ain't going to switch up the game, okay? But we got to be able to function in another sector, right? We got to be able to function in another sector. Well, we gonna skip to the next witness because, baby, he ain't talking about nothing but them cell phones, and they didn't even travel with the cell phones. I think I got like 3 cases, trials, 4 trials I know I want to do in 2025 for certain.
Those, Agent Hannah, then go ahead and
All right, let's see what Brother Man got to offer.
before we get to those, Agent Hannah, then go ahead and tell us where are you employed?
I'm a special agent with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation
Oh, all these FBI agents.
Tennessee Bureau of Investigation.
Since December of 2013.
Okay. And were you obviously a special agent in 2019, 2020?
Yes, I was.
What are the duties and roles of a special agent with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation?
Okay, Winter.
My role as a special agent with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation was to conduct criminal investigations, and I was primarily assigned to Anderson and Knox County.
Okay. And when did you first become assigned to Anderson County?
2014.
Okay. And so in 2019, 2020, rather, in August of 2020, what are the circumstances under which
That's a great
the Tennessee
pickup
Bureau of
line.
Investigation would become involved in an investigation, so to speak?
It would be at the request of the district attorney general or the local law enforcement agency requesting assistance.
Okay. And we've already heard from Agent Millsaps and Cochran that TBI agents were on scene in August of 2020 when the body was recovered in this case.
Yes.
Were you also present?
Yes, I was present.
Okay. And what was your role there at the scene? What were you to do?
My role on the scene was to provide assistance to the Oak Ridge Police Department with helping process the crime scene. In response, the violent crime response team from our agency, from the TBI Crime Lab, responded. Once they responded, I updated them as to giving them a briefing once they arrived on scene as to what their next job duties would be.
Okay. But at some point, does your role change in this investigation from assist to something different?
It does.
When did that occur?
That occurred around September 8th of
Okay.
2020.
And what was that change?
Became the lead investigative agent for this case.
Okay. And what did that mean to you?
Oh, wow. He the
It
lead.
means that I would take over the investigation from that point and step out of that assist role and then formally be leading the investigation.
So now you're going to
Yes.
you're going to be gathering everything?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And as part of that, obviously you spoke with all the other law enforcement agencies and officers involved in the case?
Yes.
Okay. Describe, if you would, generally the scope of the investigation. What types of things do you do in your investigation to investigate the background of the individuals that are involved in cases? What do you do generally?
Generally look to see where individuals are from, last known location, family members, friends, acquaintances, things of that nature to try and better determine where somebody might have been living at the time of the crime, types of activities at the time of the crime, things of that nature.
Okay. And you've testified you became lead agent in September of 2020?
Correct.
That's at least a month after the body's discovered?
Yes.
And however long after the homicide actually occurred?
Yes.
Agent, we obviously know that police have lights, sirens, and crime scene tape, right?
Right.
What is it? Why is it that police agencies have lights, sirens, and crime scene tape?
To respond to a scene, speaking to the blue lights and sirens, that's necessary to get to a scene as quickly as possible to ensure when you've got response there quickly, but also to ensure the integrity of the crime scene. And crime scene tape, obviously, to secure a crime scene to ensure the integrity of that.
Okay, so when you arrive at a crime scene that may potentially be 8 months old, what difficulties may you have or face?
You face a number of challenges just due to the length of time that has passed since the initial crime occurred. It makes it somewhat difficult when you're responding in at that time.
Okay. Does it make it difficult for witnesses?
Yes, it does.
Memories?
Yes,
How about science, like we just saw with Jennifer Millsaps?
yes, as she explained, it does.
And as far as you, your investigation was concerned, did you also go out and interview folks?
I did.
Approximately how many interviews did you conduct?
Say a specific number off the top of my head, maybe 20, more than 20.
Okay. And you obviously generated a report.
Yes,
That's weird. He talked to 20 people, but we only saw like
How many pages is that report?
3 neighbors.
numerous, over 70 investigative
coworker.
reports in total, but multiple pages are contained within those 70 plus investigative reports.
Over 1,000-page report.
Yes,
Joy, look how he
And
looked
with
when he got
regard to that,
arrested.
were you able to collect
on.
and kind of combine information from all different sources for the purpose of establishing some key factors or key points in the investigation?
yes.
Okay.
He looked way better now. And he looked way better since he's been locked up. For real. He looked like he was 60-some years old on that picture.
And you recognize the document I'm handing you?
Yes, sir, I do.
And you just testified you had a chance to summarize some of the key
Yep.
points of the investigation.
That
What
must
is
be an
document
FBI
for?
pin on his
It is a
lapel.
case timeline of this investigation.
Okay. And what points are on that timeline?
You want me to just read from top to bottom, sir?
Actually, we can probably. Without objection, I'll move that in as 39, Judge, and then we can have him.
Okay.
I don't have it here. I've got it.
You can keep asking questions while they look at it if you want to.
Look like Charles Manson. I say Sean Manson.
I'll turn your
I couldn't
attention
sit
to
on a jury. The
final
jury found me in
report.
contempt of
Obviously,
court.
when Agent Millsaps was up here.
Why you get
while we're
distracted?
reviewing that,
Oh
while
yeah,
Agent
or a
Millsaps
little
was
itty
up here, a
bitty
final
bag.
question was put to
Okay,
the
so
agent
y'all,
about a recent test, blood test on a set of knives.
Yes.
You recall that question that just happening in front of the jury?
we gonna adjourn.
And
Hold on.
obviously,
Hold on. We gonna disperse at the end of direct examination. Okay, we at the 2 hour and 10 minute mark, and this is exactly why we only do 2 hours so we can stay focused and we can stay focused. Okay. So by the time we get to the defense turn, that's what we're gonna pick up tomorrow. Okay. Because y'all are being incorrigible. Lady Self, that's what our new words from last month. Incorrigible. Okay. They are being acting unruly and incorrigible in the jury box.
there was no knife set introduced by Kevin Craig for the jury. Is that right?
Correct.
Will you explain to the jury what the circumstances?
Yeah, don't ask him to ask questions instead of just testifying.
Okay, I'll sustain.
There's a foundational question to get him to where he needs.
You can't ask lead question. I mean, I'm gonna give you some leeway, but
You
just narrow the question down. You got it. Go ahead.
Can I point his attention to that point in
Thank
the
you.
record what the jury already knows?
Thank you. No, go ahead. That's the question.
Go ahead and tell us what the last report that Jennifer Millsaps put in, where did that knife set come from?
It came from 318 East Fairview Road in Oak Ridge.
And what were the circumstances for it being collected?
It was collected by the Oak Ridge Police Department as evidence in the homicide case.
Okay. And do you know when it was or who it was collected from?
It was collected from the landlord of that residence.
Okay. So as far as the
Exactly,
initial
Winter.
crime scene
Exactly.
response, that was not a piece of evidence that was collected?
That's correct.
Okay. Do you know what was that found it? Do you recall the name?
The name of the person that found it?
Yes.
Yes, I do. That would have been Terry James.
Okay. And what was his reason for being there at 318 Fairview?
Mr. James was there at that address at the request of the landlord to repair and clean that place. And
At
prepare
least
it for
everybody's
new
skin
tenants.
is shiny and
And this was,
moisture.
of course, after everything had happened, or do
Yes.
you know the date that occurred?
This would have been after.
Okay. And do you know the location of where that knife set was recovered by Mr. James?
It was recovered in the kitchen, in the cabinets in the kitchen.
Okay. And we just heard from investigator or Special Agent Doug Williams about the phone forensics. Did you have an opportunity to look at the phone forensics in this case?
I did.
And did you go through each phone?
Yes, I did.
All right. And specifically, with regard to the phone, what kind of communication were you looking to see when you examined or used the Celebrate reader that we've already talked about? What kind of communication were you looking for?
Communications involving Sean Finnegan or Rebecca Dishman.
Okay. And first and foremost, did you, when you looked at the forensics of the phone, whose phone was it and why? How do you know that?
It was Sean Finnegan's phone.
Okay. Exhibit 18 and Exhibit 19 are the two phones that were entered. Explain to the jury who the owner of each of those phones were.
Exhibits 18 and 19, Sean Finnegan was the owner of both phones.
Okay. And what was the operational status of the phones at the time of the body recovery in August of 2020?
One phone did have service.
Wait.
and
We're
was-
gonna just have to pick him up tomorrow. Let me just say this. Little Lane Jury Box. Y'all are absolutely out of there tonight. Y'all are out of there. Y'all out of there tonight. It is no getting back on track. It is no getting back on track. Betty Boop say you can watch an HD movie on his forehead. At this point, Winter just say, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Winter say, at this point, can a defendant just have an outburst and call somebody a fucking liar like he did on that recording? Okay. Lady Steph objecting. Okay. Miss Steph 219 talking about you got a 5 head. Tiki promising to act better tomorrow. Winter is seeing the errors of her ways. Winter say, God damn, I should let Demetra skip that damn one expert. Look, no, Living trying to hold it together, but she can't focus. Let me tell y'all something. Okay, let me tell y'all something. I absolutely blame this what's happening on the fact that we've been on a holiday pass. When you run a loose ship, things go crazy, right? So I'm sorry, Little Lane Jury Box. Tomorrow, I will be talking about late. Because that's the only way we can get some order around here. Okay, we got to keep some order. Oh, Lady Steph say, wait a minute. I was objecting to the lates being reinforced. I think we need to have a discussion from the jury box about going till Christmas. And that's why I really want us to finish this trial, right? And then pick up the next full trial watch in January on the Real Channel, right? And we're going to bring our personalities over there. We ain't going to switch from being the Little Ain't Jury Box. Okay? Trust and believe. You know, it's some people that's over there in the true crime and the trial watches that they're gonna love trial watch with Demetra, right? Because they're gonna be able to come find them a chat where they feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? And they're gonna like the fact that we take our time and go through it. They're gonna like the fact that they're gonna be a lot of the true crime trial watch in that sector. A lot of the times they don't have no type of commentary. They're just watching the trial. And so therefore it's just like it kind of boring. I think this is better, right? Oh yeah, they be doing the most over there in them chats, okay? They be doing the most. Sometimes they be talking about shit. I be like, golly. Went to say make me up about 10 late passes with this boring shit right here. Right. Demetra and Tiki started talking about, I wasn't talking about nobody bangs. How you gonna put me in it? I did not say nothing about the lady bangs, did I? I did not say nothing about that lady bangs. We did learn a lot tonight. We learned tonight about the forensic science of serology. Is that what it was? Serology, which is the study of blood and bodily fluids. We learned that. And we learned from the case. We learned in this case tonight that when the expert came, the serologist, about the blood and stuff, we actually still having that Sean Finnegan, his DNA wasn't even found in the victim or under her fingernails. And that we also found out that one of the testings with the serology testings that they was finding like some other male samples. The only thing that I heard that was for sure Sean Finnegan was a blood sample or whatever, bodily fluid sample that was downstairs in the kitchen cabinet thing. And then at the on one of the dog leashes, the victim's DNA was on one end, the chain. One end of the chain, and Rebecca's was on one end of the chain. So we did get some key elements that say really what somebody said here about the defense. That the defense actually, even though it's not their time yet, they kind of made leeway in casting the doubt because their DNA testing definitely didn't help the prosecution at all, right? I didn't know how to spell serology either. Okay? All right, so this was a good night, y'all. That's okay. Y'all know we on Christmas, holidays, and everything like that. After we get through this trial, then we're going to watch some sentencing. We're going to watch some arrest stuff. And then going into 2025, I think we should do like a trial. Let it go through, take our time, go through it. And then spend like a week or so doing other stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then get back through a trial. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe we focus on doing like one trial, if it's a long, good one, for the month and take our time and go through it and then do other stuff. That's why I say I want to talk to y'all and try to figure out and let y'all help me figure out what would be a good fit for over there. Snack girl, the whole jury box cut up. And all you missed tonight was some boring experts. Tiffany Moss trial is on. Tiffany Moss, isn't that girl that somebody told me to look up last week? Ain't that white girl that killed them two? Wait a minute. Is it Tiffany Moss or was that Tiffany somebody else? And Renee told me to look her up, and I looked her up, and it was the white lady who had those two mixed sons, and she killed them. But her trial wasn't online. Let me look it up real quick. Let me look it up real fast. Let me see. But we got We got plenty of good trials to go through. For 2025, we got some excellent trials. Yeah, no. The woman with the 2 sons was Tiffany Lucas. That trial, we can't do the trial watch on that because they didn't show it. Now, Tiffany Moss, let me see. Let me see who she is. Well, whoever she is, that trial is definitely online. It's definitely, they show the full trial. So maybe we'll look at that. Let me write that down. Tiffany Moss. Tiffany Moss trials on, they show the full trial. Tiffany Lucas, they didn't show the full trial. Yeah, well, yes, we had fun, but we was paying attention till the Geek Man came up. Yeah, that just really threw us, right? How old was so we can do Tiffany Moss. We're gonna do Tiffany Moss. We're gonna do the Florida neighbor killing trial. We're gonna do what's her name? Tanisha. What's her name? Tanisha Miller. The one that killed that with the stepdaughter, the dog. Tiffany Moss, the Florida lady, Tanisha trial. I had another trial. Oh, I'm waiting for this lady to go on trial that stabbed this that little boy from Tasha Martin, not Miller, in the store. She been refusing to take her medications. Her name Brittany something. Remember I showed y'all a clip of her titties this big, like out to here, and she been acting crazy up in the hearings. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Now for Tiffany Lucas, we gonna do her sentencing. I already have her tagged up for the sentencing. Let me, what is that? So that's Martin. Which one you talking about right here? Snack in the Meal. You talking about Tiffany Moss? What's Snack? What you talking about? Tiffany Moss? And don't forget, I'm waiting for the biggest trial. I'm waiting for the Madeline Soto trial. Okay? I'm definitely waiting for that trial. Where that woman was letting her boyfriend was letting her daughter sleep in the bed with her and her boyfriend, and when she wanted some rest, she would send off her boyfriend and her daughter to go sleep together. Yeah, we will be watching that. We will be watching that trial. Okay, and for some reason she not being held up for no charges. Right, but that's why some of these cases that have all these children, I got to space them apart. Good night, living. I have to. I can't do one child case after another trial case after another child trial. That's just too much and it's too emotional. So that's when I got to kind of find a good balance and even do like some little robbery cases and stuff in some of those smaller courts, because we can't do too much, an overload. Okay. All right, y'all. So y'all have a great night. I'm gonna go check out Fabe Blob. I missed her live. And I really ain't got too much more. I'm going to go watch. Go check out Jill Comfort Zone if you want to see some great little craft ideas to do. Yeah, I just popped off my nails, but these little baking soda nails starting to look better and better, child. The only thing is I'm not putting enough. I got to put more stuff so they won't pop off. Maybe we can watch some funny trials in between. That's why, yeah, I got to go find some. I'm looking. All right, y'all. Good night. Did you see the one from Houston where the godmother beat the 4-year-old who's still in the hospital and let out on bond? Her mother is in prison. No, but Renee, did you just see just the other day, like 3 days ago, that I want to do a live on that. Where the brother, he's staying at his sister's house. She letting him sleep on the couch. He go out there and smoke some of that funny weed, that synthetic weed, come back home, stab up his sister, stab up her daughter, his niece. and then fell asleep when the cops came. He was just up in there asleep, fucked up. Good night, y'all.